Tonight, in this newscast, one of Cameroon's prolific writers and social critic of the Biya regime, Professor Asongani, is no more. We take a look at the man who did not mince words in condemning even mishaps within his own political party, that is the Social Democratic Front. Also in this newscast, a strike action staged by temporary workers of the University of Douala here in the Littoral region paralyzed activities on campus. Today, it took the intervention of security forces for calm to return. Good evening to you, ladies and gentlemen. We welcome you back from the weekend. You are watching the primetime newscast on Equinox Television. Let's begin right away here. In the economic capital, Douala, as we announced in the headlines, police used tear gas to disperse angry protesters on the campus of the University of Douala. The temporary workers of the institution were demonstrating against their dismissal. Our reporter, Babla Jonathan, has the details.
Close to 110 temporal employees of the University of Douala go on rampage in protest to what they qualify as undue dismissal from their post of responsibility.
On revendique nos droits, tout simplement. On n'a pas fait de casse.
Among them are guards and cleaners.
Nous avons encore un contrat en cours de 15 mois.
They staged a protest move Monday morning on the campus of the university.
Le lundi matin, on nous lance les gaz lacrymogènes. Est-ce que nous avons volé?
Police used tear gas and other weapons to disperse the protesters and send them out of the school campus.
À cette période de rentrée, regardez comment on nous met dehors.
All attempts to get reactions of university officials were fruitless. The latter rather instructed security forces to chase Equinox television reporters out of the university campus.
After the amendment and adoption of the bill on the country's penal code, lawyers have described the activities that unfolded at the parliament that was last weekend as victory on the part of the Cameroon bar. They however maintained that the content of the said code is simply ambiguous. Barrister Ango Jacob told a reporter for Hansen Chanji that the battle is far from being over. His report.
The amendment of Article 127 and subsequent adoption of Cameroon's revised penal code by MPs and senators is a battle won by lawyers who march on streets of Kumba, Bamenda, Manfi, a victory of the Cameroon bar, SDF MPs and Cameroonians in general who stood against the penal code. Barrister Ango, member of the Cameroon Bar Association, says the war has not ended.
It's a partial solution, not a complete solution. Why I say partial is that at least once in our National Assembly, a bill has gone ahead, come back, and has been amended. We are all Cameroonians are now aware that a minister could be prosecuted for any misappropriation of funds without any fear that he has immunities or whatever. Unlike what was under the federal government, the federal penal code, which granted members of government immunities, now it is very clear and certain that a minister could be prosecuted for acts committed while holding that office without him having to lay a defense that he has immunities.
The Cameroon Bar Association meeting in Douala last week demanded the amendment of articles such as 127 on immunity of government ministers, 322 on imprisonment of tenants who failed to pay 2 months of rent, and also the accurate translation to suit the bicultural nature of Cameroon. If Article 127 has been amended and adopted, Article 322 has been maintained. Barrister Ango says Paul Biya, the President of the Republic, should not promulgate the penal code into law because of its ambiguity.
This penal code doesn't take care of the other arguments lawyers raise with respect to tenancy relationship. Because now, in the new dispensation now is that anybody owing rents can be criminalized. That is, you could be pursued as if you have committed a criminal offense. But when you look at it legally in law, a criminal offense presupposes that, okay, you intentionally do something and which with the resultant consequences. Look at it, if you want to turn a debt into a criminal act, it defeats the purposes of what is called a criminal action, what is called a civil action.
The war is still on for the amendment of some of these articles enumerated, described as anti-democratic and anti-constitutional.
Certainly there should be a real look. It doesn't mean terrible at national and international level. There should be a real look of that issue.
Now, with a politician, we shall be talking more on the country's penal code that was adopted at the National Assembly, which ended last week. That's going to be in the second part of this newscast. Circulation in the CEMAC zone is still a big problem. 20 euros after the CEMAC insurance pink card was introduced, stakeholders of the CEMAC sub-region met in the nation's capital, Yaoundé, to tackle this ill, amongst many others. Roland Akong has the details.
The CEMAC insurance pink card is 20 years old. Officials of the CEMAC motor insurance scheme meeting in Yaoundé Monday say they have since July 1996 recorded over 200 cases of cross-border accidents in various member countries and have paid close to 400 million francs CFA as damages to victims of accidents in the sub-region. Equatorial Guinea is the only CEMAC member country without a national bureau of the CEMAC pink card, an act which critics consider as unfriendly for the sub-regional integration initiative. The CEMAC pink card gets its funding from insurance companies in the sub-region and not from CEMAC member countries like other initiatives. 20 years on, the initiative is on the move, enhancing regional integration unlike other initiatives like the CEMAC passport, the CEMAC airline and the CEMAC stock exchange, which apparently have all gone comatose.
We stay in Yaoundé, still with Roland Akong, to add that subscribers who missed the deadline for the identification exercise of their lines are scrambling for the exercise. Some mobile telephone companies, on their part, failed to suspend the lines of unregistered users on the June 30th deadline that was put in place by the Minister of Post and Telecommunications. Roland Akong once again tells us more.
These are mobile telephone users in Cameroon whose SIM cards were deactivated July 1 because they did not identify their numbers. Some of the subscribers say they could not meet the July 1 deadline due to population density at registration centers. Deactivated lines, these official of the Ministry of P&T says, will be reactivated immediately after identification.
Vous devez vous rapprocher de l'opérateur. Votre puce est réactivée.
That indefinite suspension is the sanction for subscribers who refuse to be identified, and that their numbers will be given to other subscribers.
À un certain moment, sa ligne sera résiliée. Ça veut dire que son numéro sera réactivé à quelqu'un d'autre.
Government says the identification exercise is for security reasons. Sources say at least 5 million lines were suspended during a similar campaign between 2014 and 2015.
We now talk about the Muslim communities here in the economic capital Douala. In very few hours, Muslim faithfuls will be breaking their month-long fast as they are going to be celebrating the feast of the Ramadan. Though the moon, which marks the end of fasting, is still to appear, preparations are already intensifying in several parts of the country's economic capital Douala ahead of the feast of the Ramadan. Food, clothes and other goodies are being purchased by some Muslim faithfuls here in the economic capital Douala ahead of the feast. Some imams or teachers of the Islam have said that Muslim faithfuls should concentrate on the spiritual aspect of the feast as we speak. And just to note that it is not yet known whether the feast is going to be celebrated tomorrow, Tuesday, or on Wednesday. We shall be keeping you updated. Now, officials of the Social Affairs Delegation in the Southwest region of Cameroon have warned NGOs to stop using orphans as profit-making ventures. The Chief of Children's Welfare, the Delegation of Social Affairs in the Southwest region, was speaking during a ceremony which was grouping dozens of orphans that took place in Tole. Our reporter Derek Jato has the details.
Tribute to all orphans in the world.
These kids are orphans drawn from 6 orphanages around Boya. They have been invited by St. Mary Charity Organization here in Tole, a village in Boya subdivision.
So we have to bring those children, all those 6 orphanages together,
to let the children know that they are not the only ones. There are other schools like them, so it's all them to feel happy and enjoy themselves to celebrate that day, because the main purpose of the African Day of the Child, that's what we are celebrating.
Reason why X-Virus, a Buya-based artist, came in with a song for the orphans. Mr. Muncio Nampe Matthias, the NGO CEO, also told these orphans that after their primary education, they should come and pick up a profession.
Picking them out of the street, not to train them and leave them to go away. To take them, to train them, those who want to do catering, those who want to do tailoring, electricity, plumbing, computer, and most of all, agriculture.
Sitting in for the Southwest Regional Delegate of Social Affairs, Madam Lyonga Judith, while congratulating St. Mary Charity Organization, she also frowned at the dubious attitude of many organizations in the region who are taking these orphans as their business capital.
We are hoping that other NGOs should come and copy this, because some they take downloads and they enrich themselves. They don't do what they're supposed to do in the community. They don't empower these children. They don't see that the welfare of these children is even taken into consideration.
At the end of the day, some basic items were donated to each orphanage.
Now we talk about a sad incident in the course of this newscast. He was one of Cameroon's prolific writer and stopped at nothing at criticizing the regime and even his own political party, that is the Social Democratic Front. Professor Asonganyi, who was reputed for that, is no more. He died yesterday at the Yaoundé General Hospital. And Roland Akongo visited his residence today, tells us in the following report that access was a big problem. His report.
A solemn atmosphere at the Essos Yaoundé residence of Professor Asonganyi Tazwache. The family of the deceased did not allow TV cameras to shoot images of the compound, saying it is for reasons of privacy. However, as a politician, Asonganyi is remembered as former Secretary General of the SDF party, dismissed in 2006 for allegedly criticizing the high-handedness of Fundi over the SDF party. Media people remember Asonganyi as an analyst, vocal on topical issues and a critic of the Biya regime. He was also an election observer who observed elections in some African countries. Students of the Yaoundé School of Medicine and Biomedical Sciences remember him as a teacher for about 3 decades. The biochemist from the BLM, trained in London, dies over an undisclosed illness in the Yaoundé General Hospital Sunday, leaving family friends to mourn him.
Before we take you to the second part of this newscast, we should note that Aminatou Ahijo, the daughter of the former president of the Republic of Cameroon, was finally installed into her functions as the board chair of the Congress Hall in the nation's capital, Yaoundé, in a ceremony that was chaired by Cameroon's Minister of Culture, Narcisse Moele Kombi. And it should be noted that her installation ceremony of today is coming after she was appointed in a presidential decree on the 26th of June 2016. That is that for this first segment of the news. Up next is Talking Point. Cameroon's parliament witnessed one of the 10th sessions in past decades over several years now. The June session of parliament is still a debate as we speak, following the controversial bill which was later amended at the level of the National Assembly last week. Now, the bill is awaiting promulgation into law by the President of the Republic of Cameroon, and we want to know what politicians are thinking after we heard a barrister at law speaking in the course of this newscast. Good evening to you, Mr. Celestin Jamin. We thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you very much, Mimi, and thank you for inviting me on this program. First of all, I want to send an emotional tribute to the Professor Asonganyi, who was the Secretary General of the SDF. He was an exemplary secretary and an honest man. So I also send my condolence to his wife and all his children. Yes.
So how did the Social Democratic Front, as we heard Roland Akong indicated in his report that he actually resigned, that was several years back before his death that was announced yesterday, how has the party received the news of his death?
Well, you know that this death was announced I think yesterday yesterday, and the party, by some individuals of the party, take a position to give all the emotion and position on this dramatic issue happened to Yaoundé yesterday. And I think that everybody, you know, Asongani was a very big professor and a very big critic against the Biya regime, and he resigned.
And even officials of his own party.
Yes, because there was some critical position he had taken during his office against the Nijon police. Yes, hierarchy. But you know that you have to recognize the talent of the man and his style to say the thing which are very taboo at that period. So I think that all the militants of my party, of the SDF today, recognize that he was a big Secretary General, and I think that it was painful for all of us today.
Quite painful for Cameroonians as well, historians, writers, and even students in the nation's capital, Yaoundé. Now we come back to the bill which was amended and later adopted at the National Assembly. What is your take on happenings at the National Assembly which ended last week? We saw how there was tension amongst the Minister of Justice, MPs, opposition MPs as well. What's your impression? What do you have to say about what happened during the June session?
Yes, you know, Mimi, the tension has the causes. So I think that this penal code is fundamentally bad and is the worst code of our country. Why? Because when you see, for example, the article concerning the immunity of the members of government. So today, the President Biya asked for the second reading of this text. But before, when you see that the members of government can have the privilege to have immunity during their function, is the contrary of the option taken by Mr. Biya to fight against the corruption in this country.
That is a war that he waged several years ago.
There is a contradiction between this operation launching at 2006 and the immunity of the members of government. You know, the immunity is come from the vote. We are aware that when you are elected as MPs or as councillor, you could have immunity because it's the people who give you this immunity. So, but when we are appointed by somebody, you cannot have immunity. So we are very happy that President take care of that and ask for the second reading of this text penal code. But the
should the credit go to the President because it was modified at the National Assembly thanks to thanks to the efforts of the opposition and the Cameroon bar that equally fought against the bill in question.
Course. And I want to thank obviously the lawyers, the students, and the civil society because they have made a good job concerning this lobbying against this very, very bad text of the parliament. So that I think today the question is the attitude of this government, because you know this text have the vocation to roll the generation of Cameroonian for the future. So my protest against that is that the government don't take the time to consult the practitioners, the actors of the justice in this country. So don't have the right to give this fundamental text to a cabinet to prepare that. You have I think that the right way was to launch a large and vast consultation, national consultation about that, on this issue. So Mr. Biya chose to give this, or his government chose to give this preparation of this text, this fundamental checks, to the cabinet.
So now let us continue to talk about the bill that was adopted. I should note that Legal Minds actually tabled a series of grievances, not only on Article 127 that was amended. We should talk about the problem of the landlord and tenants that was equally highlighted. We equally have the issue of bride price that has a lot of ambiguity, and not specific. There are so many articles of the bill that was criticized. The Anglophone lawyers were complaining about the problem of language and translation of the bill in question. Are you satisfied with the fact that just a single aspect of the bill was amended?
No, of course no. I'm not satisfied. Why? Because now in Cameroon, when you are a tenant, if you don't pay, you are 2 months late paying your rent in Cameroon, this law must put you in jail. Cameroon must know that. So you know that on the field, many people have the problem of payment of salary. Imagine some girl who has a child a child in his house. This girl who is working on some office or elsewhere have not his salary regularly. So when the text say that the householders could put it out because his 2 month rent over. So I think that is a very human, it causes a human problem, very big problem. Because if, of course, we are aware of the, of the promotion of, of the, they call it in French, logement, in the society, lodging. But now, to the payment of the rent, they must do that in the society. We have a situation that can cause a very big drama in the society. So it's the reason why I saw before we beginning this program, I say that we need to reformulate this law, the entire code, because to modify a single article of this code is not the modification of the entire code, because this entire code need to be reformulated. So this government will take care and to summon to invite all categories of the society.
So the party should be invited.
Yes, political party, civil society, actors of the right, of the lawyers and students, and so on, because it's the very fundamental text of our country. You know, this text now, the former code is coming from the 1967, so almost 50 years now. So it's the generation of the people of the Cameroonian. These texts have to be managed. Though I regret the attitude of this government, because when the president he have the right to ask the second reading of this text, but for the entire code, penal code, not only for the single article, is not responsible.
Now, the ball is in the court of the head of state, who is expected to promulgate this bill into law. What would you tell the head of state as we speak, since the law has not yet been promulgated? The bill has not yet been promulgated.
Yes. I think that my supplication, my preoccupation now is to ask to the head of state to suspend the promulgation of this text, because it's a very bad text for our country. So it's not, I don't see what are the emergency to promulgate this text. So it's a time, it's remain a time to call on everybody in this society, the lawyers, the Cameroonian bar, the civil society, everybody to come and build together a very good text for the future in this country. You cannot say like that, only say like that, you modify a single article and so and so. No, I think that
So the head of state has to call all the actors.
Yes.
Due to time, I was supposed to ask you about the crisis rocking the SDF in the littoral region.
Of course.
That
the SDF,
you have
remember,
made an outing a few days ago talking about the need for change.
Yes.
Yes. Can you tell us more about the crisis and how far you can go as far as this crisis is concerned?
You know, we are I am a
just very swiftly.
Yeah, yes.
I
am a very partisan of the Republican values. In the littoral, we need a new captain. We need a new commander-in-chief in littoral, because
which
the
is not forthcoming.
No, the position of SDF here in littoral is very low. See our achievement in this region is very low. Only 3 MPs for almost 19